Good day there. Once again, viewers, this is your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today, guys, as you can see, we're doing something just a little bit different today. Today, guys, I'm in my office. I've got a decent lighting setup in my office. I've got my mirrorless camera out. What the hell are we doing here? Guys, today we are doing our first ever Ask Cami Anything video. Those of you who are a little bit more observant in the Discord will have noticed that we set up an Ask Cami Anything channel where you guys have been sharing some awesome questions for me to answer in a video form, and we're going to do that today. We're going to do these as they come in the future. We're not going to make this a regular series. It's not going to be happening every week or every month per se. It's just going to happen as often as you guys want to see it and as often as I get questions from you guys in that channel. So if you want to ask a question to be featured on this video series in the long run, jump in the Discord. There is a link down below as well as a card on the top right of your screen. Top right? I hope I got that right. Either way, it's going to pop up on either side in just a jiffy, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the Discord, sharing your questions for future videos. But with all that said, let's go ahead and get our first question of the day in. Blue Duck asks, how long have you been doing YouTube and when did you start? How did you discover Planetside 2 and what makes you love it so much? Awesome question from Blue Duck. Thank you very much for that, mate. So I started YouTube back in 2012, and if you delve far enough into my YouTube catalog, if you will, guys, you will find out that I started with making good old Skyrim content. It was a time and a half, but I also did a little bit of Arma 2 stuff with a community called United Operations. They were very big back in the day. Don't know if they still are now, but I did some stuff for them back in the day, and we also did some Battlefield related content as well. But eventually I discovered Planetside 2. I discovered it through a clan that I used to play with called Mag. I was relatively new to PC gaming at the time, and there was a lot of rumble in that community about Planetside 2 and what it would mean for their community, and so I decided to try it. I started making videos for it, and at last I found a love for the game that has continued to sort of power my content to this day, as you guys know. So yeah, that's basically it. I love it. Discovered Planetside 2 when it was going into beta back in 2012, and then when it launched, I got my teeth sunk straight into the game and absolutely fell in love with it. Lord Commissar Drac comes up and says, any shows you've been binging or generally a big fan of? So myself and Mrs. Kamikaze have totally been binging The Big Bang Theory, as well as, it's escaped my mind now. Cami.exe has stopped working big time. Holy shit, that took me way too long. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Absolutely love that show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We've been really digging that as well. We've also recently got Amazon Prime, so we've been absolutely binging the Grand Tour, because I'm a huge fan of Top Gear, and now that it's basically Top Gear on Amazon, they've got more money to play with stuff, so that's always good fun. But I've also been really enjoying Upload lately, and we also I got my teeth sunk into Jack Ryan. I've actually been really enjoying Jack Ryan. I'm hoping for Season 3 to come out soon, because I just finished Season 2, and kind of want it to continue. I actually really enjoy Jack Ryan. Don't know if that's a popular opinion, but any of your favorite shows, guys, leave them in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say there. Gurren is up next, and he says, thoughts or wishes on getting more Empire-specific weapons on Nanite Systems vehicles, like a main gun on the Lightning or a belly gun on the Liberator. That could be cool. I personally, though, would like to see more Empire-specific vehicles as a whole. Like, I would love to see a Vanu, TR, and NC equivalent of the Liberator. I would love to see a TR, Vanu, and NC equivalent of the Harasser. Now, there were sort of Dune Buggy or like Harasser, Empire-specific Harasser models or concepts floating around on the Reddit years ago, and I'm sure if you went looking hard enough, you'll still be able to find them to this day. But I tell you what, I would really love to see just some more outright Empire-specific vehicles in the game. I feel as though that's a very big market the developers could dive into. They could sell more cosmetics that way. And I know I'm sounding very much like a businessman, but of course the game needs to make money somehow. But they could really make a lot more money by doing that as well. So that's definitely well worth considering too. Next question comes from Strawberry Whiskey. Love the name. I don't know how much you actually care about this part of Planetside 2, but what do you think about the base building system using Quartium? Are they too powerful? How should they be used best? Should there be new content for that? And the ant? Stuff like that. Good question. It's actually been a long-standing concern I've had with the game, and not because I find base building to be too powerful. I actually find it to be a horribly underutilized mechanic. Back when base building first launched, it had an actual objective. You would use it to generate victory points in the old victory point system, and through that you would create some really interesting bases that had different roles. That's since been changed, and now bases don't really play a huge part in the objective meta of the Planetside 2 game, at least the main game it is. That said though, my time in casting Outfit Wars has noticed one thing, and one thing mainly, is it's got a really powerful impact on how bases are utilized. Now that mainly comes from the fact that there's no such thing as nanites when you're in Desolation and in Outfit Wars, which means that you have to rely on Quartium bases to pull vehicles and war assets. But honestly, the way in which player-made bases operate on Desolation versus how they operate in the main game, you wouldn't be able to tell if that was from the same game or not. So I'd personally really like to see player-made bases become a much more integral part of the actual game. And I think a big step to accomplishing that is going to be allowing for more areas to have player-made bases on them, but also allow for actual pre-made bases to have some player-made base levels of interactivity as well. I think that would be a really nice middle ground that would make everyone happy in the long run. Next question today comes from IsmaBread, and he asks, why don't you command an army the days you stream? I think people would love to play with you, and I think you've revived me before, and the idea of actually being in your squad, I'm assuming, really made my day. Of it actually being you, sorry, really made my day. God, I can read. I can definitely read, ladies and gentlemen. So it's an interesting question, one I've had plenty of times. There's a few reasons for it. One of the ones that can happen is when I'm streaming from time to time, I am very much in a reviewing mindset. I could be reviewing a gun, I could be reviewing a class, I could be getting gameplay for a certain video. And when you're focusing on getting content like that, there's a very big difference between playing the game for actually just playing the game, or playing the game for the purposes of getting content. Like when I'm searching the map, or when I'm searching the continent fights, like, you know, my outfit may very well decide to go start a cap somewhere on the map. But for me, that's not good footage. We may never get resistance there, we may never get a fight, so for me that could be 4 minutes of my time not getting footage. So that's one aspect, like I could be in a different mindset. Another aspect is whenever I'm streaming, I very much want to make sure that I am encouraging as much interaction in the chat. For me, a stream is my opportunity to give back to you guys, have a chat with you, you know, share some memes, have a good time, so on and so forth. Whenever I'm in a squad, my attention is suddenly divided. I've got to keep in mind that I'm talking to people that are playing with me in game, and then I've got to manage the chat as well. And when my attention is divided like that, I'm a man, okay? My multitasking skills, not that great. So yeah, when it comes to that level of divide there between attention spans, I find it very difficult to manage. So yeah, it's a bit catch-22 for me. I would love to lead more public squads when I'm streaming, but it's a bit difficult for me to do that, as well as maintain focus on both chat and in-game. So yeah, that's the only concern I've really got there. Echo 1001 next up, and he says, is there any real way to practice hitting moving stuff or strafing targets in the game without being in an actual fight? Is it really just 1v1s, stuff like that, and aim practicing? There are always those aiming improvement games or aiming improvement websites you can go to. They're always good. They offer like great flick and tracking accuracy improvements. I don't really spend a lot of time on them myself, but I have tried one or two in the past, and they do seem fairly legit on improving your accuracy. So that's definitely the way I'd recommend going. And he's also got a double whammy. How are you doing, and is your family right during these times? And is there anything the community can do to help you in that realm? So my family and I were doing okay. I'm going to go back to my actual daytime job soon, because quite frankly, things in Australia are actually pretty good. The Australian people and the Australian government overall have handled things quite well here. Our COVID, I'm assuming we're talking about COVID-19. Our COVID-19 response has been actually pretty decent. And as a result of that, I'm feeling pretty safe now to go back to work. For me, it wasn't the concern about myself. It was mainly the concern about my family members and my partner's family members who are a little bit more high risk with the disease. In saying that though, obviously, when it comes to your guys' support, everything goes a long way, guys. Obviously, you watching the videos, you liking the videos, you sharing the videos, being at the streams, you know, and obviously if you want to support monetarily as well, that goes a long way too. But of course, it's, you know, just the support alone helps me out a lot. And, you know, if you guys choose to support even further by, you know, joining the memberships on the channel or subscribing on Twitch, so on and so forth, every little bit goes a long way, guys. That's all I can say. So thank you all for your support. As always, guys, it means the world. Next up, JCG86, one of the moderators here across our social media platforms. He says, Outfit Wars, should they only be allowed to bring long-term members, or can you stack your outfit for glory? I've made my opinion on this fairly clear, but I will do it again here today. I don't think outfit ringers should be a thing. If you do not have the numbers to support a 48-man platoon in your outfit, start recruiting for your outfit more if you want to participate in Outfit Wars. That's literally my way of looking at it. The developers have clearly stated that this iteration of Outfit Wars is not designed to appease every single outfit out there, and that's going to include the outfits that simply don't field 48 people regularly. This is a mode that's designed to show off mid-sized, I'm going to say mid-sized outfits who can bring 48 people to a fight and who can coordinate that 48 people better. If you start bringing multiple people from multiple outfits into one outfit for an outfit war, it suddenly blurs the line of being outfit wars and more or less becomes faction wars, in my opinion. So yeah, the way I see it, I would very much prefer outfit wars to be entirely dedicated to just outfit members. And I think to solve that, you have to be in the qualifying phase to join the desolation phase if your outfit qualifies. Simple as that. Next up, Vitamin Putin 27 says, Cami, how many more years do you think Planetside 2 is going to last? This is a tough question. This is a tough one. Look, okay. My optimistic side says that this game will last until Planetside 3 comes out. But we know that's a while off. In fact, we know it's not even on the cards yet. So I think 2020 is going to be a very important year for Planetside 2. 2020 is really, I think, the tipping point. Obviously, the developers have got the largest amount of developer manpower they've had in years. And if they don't capitalize on that with healthy, quality game updates that don't bring in a lot of bugs and fix more bugs than they bring in, then we may have a chance of having a relatively positive long-term game here that could last years to come. I feel as though as soon as a competitor arrives on the field, Planetside 2 could be in trouble, but it would have to really dig its heels in and really double down and make sure that it can last the test of time when a competitor does come out eventually. Surely someone's got to be working on a Planetside 2 like game, because it's proven that it can have a player base for long periods of time. I will say though, if something goes wrong in 2020's development cycle, I think the game will be at risk, because again, we've gone through so many ups and downs. I think that this is the turning point. This is the tipping point for Planetside 2. It can either go really, really well, or it can backfire big time, because you can't really get much bigger than the escalation update. And if things don't improve financially for that company and for that game, we'll start to see the development numbers start to go down, and then we'll start to see the game production go down as well. And alas, the general steam that we have with the game now will start to sort of flatten out, I should say, and we don't want that. So I hope it's years to come. Diamond Wing coming in with the next question. Who's Kamikaze 78? Yeah, some ginger asshole who thinks he can, talk stuff about weapons in a game and really bad gamer, Anyway, he also asks, if you could start over again, putting aside all connections to outfits and people, which faction would you main purely based on faction weapons and vehicles? Honest to God, probably still the NC, and there's a few reasons for that. One, their music. Love the NC's music. It's actually one of the things that got me on the faction in the first place. Secondly, the NC's tank, the Vanguard, my favorite in the game, not just from a mechanics standpoint. Like, if I came into the game blind as a bat, if I saw the Vanguard just from an aesthetics point of view, that'd be the tank I choose straight away, and therefore I would probably choose my faction based on that. Not gonna lie to you, I'm a very aggressive player. I play DPS in Overwatch. I play a lot of aggression-based loadouts. I'm very much all about scoring that damage, those high damage numbers. So in Planetside, where the outright raw damage per shot is in the favor of the NC, that appeases to me too. So I probably still would pick NC, believe it or not. NSO main grown, what is your favorite food? And what is your favorite snack? Oh, favorite food. Favorite food's probably got to be anything, probably a good juicy piece of steak. I'm a bit of a carnivore. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a carnivore at heart. Snags though, anything on the barbecue. I love a good barbecue, simple as that. But as far as my favorite snack is concerned, probably Smith's chips. Like they're basically an Australian potato chip. Not a crisp, it's not a crisp, it's a bloody chip. But yes, I'm a big fan of Smith's chips. They're probably my favorite snack. Probably I don't have them as much in moderation as I really should, but I do love them. So Dan Bainon, is the thing of Australian gingers being called rangers just from Summer Heights High, or is it an actual thing? Mate, my high school experience will 100% tell you that it is an actual thing. Rangers, gingers, carrot tops, whatever you like, those are legitimate things here in Australia. It's probably, I was probably called by ranger in school more than I was by my actual name. And I didn't care. That was fine by me. You know, whatever. Beast from the East, are you happy, Cami? I hope so. Like, as far as I'm aware, I'm feeling pretty good. I've got an awesome community here I'm making content for. I'm doing something I'm passionate about. A wonderful girlfriend who supports me. Life's great. That's all I can say. Life is great. Scrubs Caliber, do you have any hot teacher stories? Eyes. Not really. No. Not that I know of. Maybe? No, probably not. Definitely not, actually. No. There weren't... No. Definitely not. God damn it, you guys are weird sometimes. The Winged One coming up right next with double questions. Which is the video you regret posting most? Also, why do you regret it? This is a big one. So, okay, years ago I made a video where I said I was quitting Planetside 2 content and I was moving on. That is the worst thing I could have done for multiple reasons. For one, I think it was very much me being just straight up burnt out with the game and making a rash decision, a total rash decision. It was silly of me to make that call when I did, because my channel was growing. I was seeing an influx of subscribers. I was growing as a content creator. I was growing in every aspect in regards to content creation, and I shot myself in the foot big time. I really did, just because I was feeling burnt out with the game. And there was this gap between what I'm doing now and when I made that video that I really didn't gain much traction in my community again, because it was a Planetside 2 community, and that is mainly my fault as well. With how, like, I've always wanted to make content in a way that people would come for me, not just for the game, and that's always going to be impossible to do for everyone. It's just the rule 101 in YouTube. It's difficult to get people to stick around for you and not for the game that you're covering. Because that is true. A lot of people here today would admittingly bugger off straight away if I stopped making Planetside 2 videos. So for me, I think the biggest thing I regret about that video is making sure that I didn't balance it out better. I could have done other content and done the occasional Planetside 2 video without announcing my retirement of Planetside 2. That was, to me, that was a silly call. And I think I could have played that a lot better in the long run. But, you know, mistakes have been made. I've come back, I've bounced back, and I think my content now is better than it ever has been before. But, you know, you live and you learn. You live and you learn. Winged also asks, what is your favorite roller coaster? Also, what is your favorite ride that isn't a roller coaster? Favorite roller coaster would have to be Superman Escapes in Movie World Queensland on the Gold Coast. Absolutely awesome ride. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 2 seconds. It just flings you. And there's so much fun. I love that ride. That is my favorite roller coaster on the Gold Coast. If you happen to go to the Gold Coast theme parks, guys, make sure you check that one out. Really, really, really. And as far as favorite rides that are not roller coasters, they actually make me sick. I don't know what it is. It's something about the roller coaster and the momentum and the fact that it's actually going somewhere that, you know, makes me not feel sick on them. But as far as actual rides that just spin you around and shit like that, I feel horrendously ill on them after a while. So I'm going to say Ferris wheel. Don't at me. To Green Flare, he comes in and says, what game would you play stream make content for if Planetside 2 didn't exist? And do you think, or same community with less or more people in it? Ooh, that's a tough one. What game? I'd probably still be making World of Warships content, honestly. Or World of Warships was a game I got into big time, but I don't know, it's the butterfly effect, guys. I tell you, like, if I had made content for another game the way I make content for Planetside, it would be totally different, because I got really lucky with Planetside, right? I started making content for it when it was really early in its development cycle. I got straight into it on the launch, which meant that there were a lot of people looking for content, and I was one of the people providing it. Back then, in the launch, though, my content wasn't as good, but it was very much a matter of, like, you know, I was in the right place, providing the supply to the demand when there wasn't much supply at the time. There was only people like Rel at the time making consistent videos, STL Youngblood, the Kool-Aid line, Drathamus, Zoran the Bear. These creators were all fairly new with Planetside. We all basically started out really gaining traction as a community with Planetside, and I feel as though I owe a lot of my success to being there at that time. And if I hadn't been there at the time for Planetside, I don't think I would have gained as much traction as I did. Now, that may have meant that I have, maybe I would have covered PUBG a bit more extensively, and then I would have gained a community that way. But you've got to keep in mind there were a lot more people covering PUBG at the time too. So, or when PUBG launched retrospectively. So, there's a lot. There's more demand, but the supply is also larger. So, yeah, it's hard to tell. I think if today I wasn't doing Planetside 2 content, I'd probably be doing more extensive Modern Warfare content, because I've been playing a lot of Modern Warfare lately. And I've always been interested about doing Borderlands content maybe, but I don't know exactly how to make Borderlands content. Like, Borderlands is a very, very different game, and I don't know how I'd go about making videos for that. So, yeah, interesting question to Green Flare. Thank you for asking. Well, guys, that's the Q&A done. That's all the questions I've picked out of there. Now, obviously, not everyone got their question answered, but this is already encroaching on 20 minutes long, so obviously we can't go all day. Either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the format. This is something I'd be more willing to do in the future. If you wanted to see more videos like this in the long run, do let me know. I've had to change my setup a little bit here to accommodate for that. But I'm also sort of in the market of potentially getting a new camera, getting some new setups for stream, and for maybe even doing some video editing tips and tricks, or general YouTube practice stuff, like general YouTube guides and stuff like that. Let me know if you want to see that sort of stuff. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that like button. Be greatly appreciated. As always, social media links in the description down below, as well as my YouTube join memberships button. If you want to support the channel further, there is a way to do that as well through that join button. But guys, once again, hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Take care, guys. Have a good one.